standing up, but like constantly moving. Some people are even putting rocks under their
Mm.
desks so they can stand
Rocks.
rocks.
I
Yeah. So they can say that's quite out there. It's more for the home office rather than
I
for the
was going to
office
say, take some
office.
rocks into the office.
Yeah, with some boulders under your arm.
G'day, Jana. How are you?
I'm great, Damien. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And it's lovely to chat about fitness and mobility and how simple it can be. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is, a lower back pain, which I've experienced in my life. But from, this whole why sitting down gives you a sore lower back. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I think we should probably go back to how humans evolved. We were never meant to sit down.
Mm,
When you think about primal people, they slept on the ground, they cooked on the ground, they pretty much spent
mm,
most of their time in a deep squat, and they were moving a lot more than we are now.
yeah.
And even there is some research when you think about the surface that covers your feet as
Mm.
opposed to the surface that covers your bottom, they're quite different, aren't they?
Oh, true. Yeah. I never actually,
Like
yeah,
I
you're
never
right.
thought about it either. Yeah, it's kind of, your feet are
Okay.
reasonably tough, and there is a
Yeah.
lot of, quite
Mm,
structurally tough tissue, whereas your
yeah.
bottom is really soft. So
Yes.
even a lot of research saying that we should not be compressing these soft muscles by sitting
Mm,
down on them for long periods of time. But essentially, what happens when you sit down, your hips get really tight because your hip flexors are in a contracted state, and often these tight hip flexors will give
yeah.
us, issues in our lower back.
Because it's from that perspective, you say we're standing that way, but then we're going like that, which is then, as you say, compressing and causing
Mm.
issues and pushing. You've got all this weight going down that way, which it wasn't designed for that.
Yeah.
I'm being an engineer here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's actually quite simple, isn't it? So you're
Yeah.
essentially putting your hip flexors under a lot of load, and the hip
Mm,
flexors are a very small muscle in the body. It is basically used to stabilize the joint, and it's not designed to be under load and in
yeah.
contraction for 8.5 hours a day for a lot of people and more.
Yeah. So how do we, I mean, because you're seeing a lot in the offices now where you have those city standy desks that go up and down. Is that the solution, just to stand up or?
To an extent, but like standing, you need to know how to stand as well, because you could
Yes.
also stand in a really bad posture, and then maybe you might be loading some other parts of your body too. I was listening to a really cool podcast where they suggested that you should be fidgeting.
Ah, okay.
So basically changing your body's position all the time. So fidgeting,
Mm,
either standing up, but like constantly moving. Some people are even putting rocks under their
mm.
desks so they can stand
Rocks.
rocks.
I
Yeah. So they can say that's quite out there. It's more for the home office rather than
I
for
was
the
going to
office
say, take some
office.
rocks into the office.
Yeah, with some boulders under your arm.
The
Yeah.
gardener will be at the front of the office going, "Where'd all the rocks go?"
Where are the rocks gone? Yeah.
But
So
what you're
it's
talking about is an uneven surface. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. So then you're constantly having to
Mm,
engage the muscles. I think what's probably hurting people the most is that inactivity and being stuck in one position
mm,
for long periods of time. And even I'm guilty of it. When I get really hooked into something on the computer, you're kind of itching forward, and then the
yeah.
head is forward and the shoulders are rounded. So it's about that, and it's also about realizing what is the cost
Mm,
of you sitting down on your
yeah.
body or standing up. What is the cost that your body is accumulating, or paying
Mm,
as you are sitting down? So then, you should be taking breaks every hour, hour and a half, and then mitigating these costs that you are imposing on your body by moving. And it could be as simple as standing from your desks and doing this, just
mm.
maybe doing some neck exercises, or maybe just stretching the chest a little bit back, so then you are releasing your body from the kind of forward position or the C shape position
Yeah.
which we usually adapt when we're sitting down, or even just taking a deep breath. Because when you actually take a deep breath,
Yeah.
opening your chest, which is actually quite powerful. So even just kind of stopping, your work for just a few seconds and just inhaling deeply,
Yeah.
because that automatically just expands the chest and kind of,
Yeah.
promotes that more healthier option.
So that movement is because I was going to ask that, is it something you should be doing regularly while you're working? Is get up and maybe it's an excuse to go and get a coffee, go for a walk down the street and get a coffee and come back. Is that But is that
Absolutely.
because then you're moving from that position to that
Hmm.
position, just moving around? Does how often? How long should you? If you're sitting down, is it half an hour, sit up for 5 minutes or 10 minutes? What sort of ratio should people look
Yeah.
at?
I mean, that probably depends on what are you working on. If you're writing
Mm,
a report, or if like some people don't have the luxury to get up every 10 minutes. And I certainly couldn't, if you're writing
yeah.
copy or newsletters or creating, you
Mm,
wouldn't want to interrupt your flow every 10 minutes. But I would say don't go more than 90 minutes without moving.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
from
And,
that perspective, when you stand up as well, because I know I've done this where I've been standing up, but then started to feel my lower back getting sore because I think my posture wasn't right. What sort of posture should you be? Is it, I can't do that with my hands, but
yeah, totally. So you should think about, you should have your core engaged at least 30% when you
right.
are just standing. So that means squeezing your glutes,
Ah,
stabilizing
yeah, do the
your
butt thing. Get
yeah, the butt thing. Yeah,
that.
totally. So your core, essentially, your three big core muscles is the glutes, which are the big
Yep.
muscles on your bottom, your
Yep.
abs, and your lats. So
Mm,
everybody knows where your abs are, and your lats are that massive big muscle that
yeah.
covers your back and that kind of supports your shoulder joint.
Mm,
So it's about being engaged 30% in all of those when you are standing. So you're not
right.
falling forward, you're not disengaging the abs, and then when you disengage the glutes, then you are creating that accentuated kind of arch in the lower back, and that is
Ah.
what's probably loading the lower back.
Yeah, I think that's what I was doing. I need to engage my glutes a bit more and get my butt in, back to that 10 shape that it
Mm,
used to be when I was younger. Um,
mm,
that's what I like to think of it. So from that perspective, when we're talking about why sitting down is giving you sore lower back pain, it is really because you're in that position which the body's not designed to do, which is stretching muscles the wrong way and compressing
mm.
muscles the wrong way.
Mm.
And then when you're standing up, you need to have that engagement, as you said, of the course, the muscles, your glutes, your abs, and your forgotten the back ones, but the ones in the
Yeah. Yeah, the lats. Yeah,
the
the
lats.
lattice still say. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's kind of really simplified, obviously
Yeah,
quite simplified explanation of why sitting down is hurting us so much, but it is essentially mainly about the hip flexors and the disengaged glutes and disengaged abs, and it's we're not meant to sit down. We're meant to be moving,
exactly. Which is what JB10's all about: getting up, moving.
all about.
Yeah, fantastic. Lovely chatting you here again on JB10. Keeping your sitting down, how to avoid the lower back pain. Jana, thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me, Jamie, and you take care.